My name is John Adoyi. I'm from Nigeria. I'm visually impaired. I'm a journalist. I work with a tech media company in Nigeria called TechCabal, and it has been pretty good.
Yes. So can you tell
So
us
can you tell us
how your disability
how your
came up?
disability came about? Well, my disability issue came about as a gradual thing. It started with I actually have glaucoma actually, so it started way back like more than a decade ago, and it gradually affected me. And due to some medical negligence and other things, it progressed to where it is today. So yeah, I wasn't born blind actually. It was something that developed while I was still little. So yeah.
Oh, sorry
Oh,
about
sorry
that.
about
So
that.
you go
So
through
go through
negligent of
negligent of
medical
medical
specialists.
specialist.
So can
Yeah.
you
So
also
can
briefly
you also briefly
tell us about your
tell us about your
experience
experience
in the education
in the
aspect
education aspect of
of visual impairment?
your impairment? It has been a thing of mixed. I will call it something that is mixed because it's a good one that I'm able to get education. That's very important. There are thousands of persons out there like me who were unable to get into school, who were unable to get the type of education I got, and it has really affected them greatly. But yeah, but for someone like me, I'm grateful that I was able to go to school. So I started from Pacheli School for the Blind in Lagos. That's from 2005. After I was unable to go to the so-called normal schools that people attend. So with that, I had to switch to Pacheli School for the Blind, where I started learning Braille, and then I went to Loyola Jesuit College for my secondary education. Then I graduated to the university, where I completed my bachelor's degree in mass communication. So yeah, I would say it has been mixed because there are times where it has been good and there are times where it has been horrible in terms of how the yeah, both good and bad experiences. Basically, teachers sometimes don't understand what to do with me, and sometimes they just go with the flow, and others are willing to listen and able to adjust to the kind of person I am in terms of what the disability I have and stuff like that. So yeah, so it has been mixed, but all thanks to God, I'm a graduate today. Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome.
perfect.
All right.
All right.
That's very good to know
That's very good
about
to
your
know about your
education journey.
education
But
journey.
how
But
was the
how was
experience?
the
Because
experience?
from
Because
what you said,
from what
you
you said,
did
you
your
did
primary school
your
education
primary school
in
education
a
and
school which is
school,
exclusively
which is
for blind
exclusively for
children,
blind children,
and for your
yeah,
secondary
and
school,
for your secondary school.
so like how was the
So, like,
different
how was the
experience
different experience
in a
in in a
secondary student
secondary
and
student
in a
and in
inclusive
in an
school?
inclusive
And
school?
you do also said
And you also said
Loyola don't have
the don't have
inclusive
inclusive
school for students with visual
students with
impairment.
visual impairment. In particularly, the teachers are trained to work with people like me, right? They are trained in special education, so they know what to do. They know how to teach someone like me. But in Loyola, it was a different experience altogether because some of the teachers, I would say this, right? Loyola Jesuit College has this thing where every session they make sure that they admit that students with visual impairment are admitted into the school, right? So they give you opportunity to come study. You go on a scholarship. So I was a beneficiary of one of those the scholarship. So most of the time we have close to like two or three visual impaired persons in the school of over 600 students, right? So some of the teachers don't get to teach all of the blind students that are in the school. So probably within the 6 years that some of the students spend there, you probably just get to be taught by like let's say five teachers or six, depending on what you start, where by the time you get to your senior secondary, your high school, what you tend to want to go into, if it is the art or science. So yeah, for me, I went into the art because that's always been it for me. So I would say in general, the teachers to an extent know what to do. I would say 30 to 40% they know what to do, while the remaining 60% they kind of learn as they go. Right? There are times where they don't really know, especially for science courses like when they are teaching you courses like elementary science and the rest of them where they have to use diagram or mathematics. They tend to ask the question that, oh, how do we do this? How do you teach you this? Why some of them usually forget that someone like you in the class and they just go, oh, this is done this way, this is done this way. Then it's left for me now to call back the teacher and say, oh, I'm here. And then, oh goodness, sorry, I forgot and stuff like that. So yeah, so it was a different ballgame altogether, where I have to adjust to an extent to what the teacher wants, and the teacher has to adjust to what I want. And me understanding that this teacher did not was not trained in special education, so they basically don't have that great experience that other teachers with special education will have. So it was a different ballgame altogether, but due to the caliber of teachers I had, I think they did their best to the best of their knowledge.
Oh, that's beautiful. And
So, and
I'm going to clap
I'm
for
going to
Loyola
clap for
District
Loyola
for
District for
being an
being
inclusive
an
school and
inclusive
having
school and
empathetic
having
teachers.
empathetic teachers.
So
Yeah.
I'm
So I'm
curious. I really want to
curious. I
know
really
what
want to know what
sparked your decision
impacts your
in
decision
becoming
in
a
becoming
writer
a
and a
writer and a
journalist in
journalist
Nigeria.
in Nigeria. To be the space in Nigeria, in fact, I think the job space or the employment space in Nigeria is a different ballgame altogether, because you have the public sector where different experiences, like you have different experiences than in the private sector. So yeah, I became what made me to become a journalist is basically I really wanted to put out the stories of persons with disability. I really want to tell my story and tell the story of others who are having this. I won't call it a challenge, but yeah, it's a challenge. It's a barrier to an extent. So yeah, people like me who have such experiences and their stories don't get told. That's what drew my attention into journalism. I've always wanted to be a lawyer, but after I met a blind journalist, his name is Ayola Efunkoya. So he basically his story, and I met him in 2011 before I went into Loyola Jesuit College, and I was like, I want to be like him. Like I can do this. If he can do it, then I can. So by the time I was in high school, it prompted me to think along that line and prepare myself for that. And after I left high school, I decided to study mass communication instead of law. And I found out that I was pretty good at what I can do. What they were teaching was what I can work with. So yeah, I am today a journalist.
So,
So
wow, that's
wow,
very,
that's
very
very,
beautiful.
very beautiful.
So, can
So
you
can you
share your
your
experience, the challenges you
the challenges
experienced
you
in
experience in
your field
your
as a
field
writer
as a
journalist?
writer journalist? I would say is the main experience of persons not really understanding why. I think it's a general experience basically of visually impaired persons or persons with disability trying to study or trying to work in a country like ours. You know, most of the times people don't believe in you, right? So it takes for a visually impaired person, it takes more time for you to convince somebody that you can do this thing better than the other person who probably did not study what you study, who probably does not even have half of the knowledge that you have. So most of the time, it takes you more time to convince somebody that, oh yeah, I'm actually good at what I do. And it takes more time to, I mean, there are times where I've gone to apply for a job and on the call, they love how I speak. They love what I'm saying because I know what I'm saying. But by then, I've not revealed to them that I'm blind, so they don't know until I show up and they're like, oh. Then they start making up excuses of like, this is this, we don't know, but can you cope? I'm like, you heard me on the call. How do you mean by can I cope? If someone cannot cope, would the person be able to say what they said, or will you be able to understand what I'm saying? So it's a thing of something like that. And it's a general bug, together of persons with disability trying to find their fitting in a Nigerian setting. As a journalist, now there are people that I want to interview, and I basically don't tell them who I am in terms of my disability until I'm done with the interview. There are times where there was someone I was meant to, she was meant to connect me with someone I was meant to interview, and I think she went through my LinkedIn page and she discovered that I was blind, and that was how she disappeared. Till this very moment, I've been sending her mails and she's not responding because I saw that she responded to my mail initially, say, "Oh, I'll get back to you in the next few minutes." Then I saw that she viewed my LinkedIn page, and since then I've not heard from her again. I've sent her mails, she's not responding. But I see her posting on other platforms, and to me, I'm like, "Oh, why does it feel like this person is snubbing me because of this? I've had somebody walk away from an interview saying that she doesn't believe I can tell the story the way she wants it to be told. I'm like, go and read what I have written before, then you can judge for yourself if I can do what you want me to do or if I can tell the story the way it is done. I think it's a general thing of people finding it difficult to believe that you can do what you do and giving you that chance to prove yourself or not to prove yourself. So yeah,
I think it's an issue of
an issue of
ableism,
ableism,
which
basically
we
that.
we
which
are
we
still
are still
advocating against
advocating
to
against
date.
to date.
But
But
you said
you
sometimes you
said
don't
sometimes you
really
don't really
let them know you
let
have
them
a
know you have a
disability in the
disability
interview.
in the interview.
Have you been
Have
able
you been
to
able
check
to
the
check
difference
the difference
of
of you know
the different
different
experiences and
experiences
feedback you
and
get
feedback
when
you get
you let
when
them know you
you
have a
let them know
disability
you
at
have a
the
disability
beginning,
at the
and
beginning,
when
and when
the disability come
the
at the
come at
interview?
the
How is the
interview, how
difference?
is the difference?
All right, before this call, I was on an interview with someone. I didn't tell them anything. They did not know my full name. So most of the time what people do is they go to check you online to know who you are before they come on an interview with you. So this interview was something that was not planned. I would say was not planned for weeks. It was something that just came up as of yesterday night, and it was like the person who was connecting us was an intermediary basically. I thought, oh, just be like the middleman between me and this person. So they came on the call this afternoon and we were talking, just flowing basically. Then at the end of the interview, the person was like, "Oh, can you tell me more about you? I did not read so much about you. I just came on the call because the topic you brought up is interesting. So I decided to come on this call. Can you tell me more about you?" And I was like, "Well, my name is this, my name is that." So they went, as we were talking, the person checked my name on LinkedIn and checked the website of the company I'm working with, that's TechCabal. And the person just came up. The next day I heard, "Oh, you are blind." I'm like, "Yeah, I am." The person was like, "Wow, like how?" Like it was just amazed and marveled. And the remaining questions I was asking, the person was quite, I don't know what to call it. He kept on coming back to the issue of, "Oh, you are blind," and stuff like that, instead of, so the difference is actually clear. It's pretty clear. Most people don't know the stories of visually impaired person. Most people don't know that visually impaired persons can do what I do or even do better. So most of the time they tend to see it from, I don't blame most of them for this because they barely hear stories, they barely see things. So most time what they see is the story of those ones that are probably not, well, we did not get the opportunity and stuff like that. We're not able to go to school or have vocation or stuff like that. So basically, that's what they are mostly privileged to see. So that is what they used to judge. So I mean, it kind of affects to an extent. But yeah,
Well, that's why
That's
we have
why
people like
we have
you
people like
who are
you who are
creating awareness
creating
and who want
awareness
to
and who want to
change the perception
change
of
the
people
perception of people
in our society.
in
And
our
I think you should
society. And I
also
think you should also
you to,
you to,
doing the interview
doing the
before
interview
letting them
before
know
letting them know who
you are and
you
your
are
disability. I
and your
think that will go
disability.
a
I
long
think
way
that
to
will go a
change their
long way to change
perspective.
their
They've already
perspective.
seen
They've
your
already
ability
seen your
before
ability
knowing that
before
aspects are
knowing
for
that
you.
aspects are for you.
yeah.
So I would also want
So
to
I would
know
also want to know
how you
how you
manage with the
manage
rapid
with the
change
rapid
of
change
tech
of
in
tech
journalism
in
and
journalism
also
and
managing
also
accessibility
managing
challenges.
accessibility challenges.
Well, being a tech journalist and being someone with disability, I think it has uh, it has pun not pun intended though, but yeah, it has opened my eyes to many things that I didn't know initially in terms of how vast digital accessibility is, how vast accessibility is, and how little most people know about accessibility. There was a story I wrote not too long ago, at sometime in June, concerning digital accessibility in Nigeria and Africa in general. And I got to realize that most of the companies that we have, most of these fintechs, banks, and the rest of them basically do not know about digital accessibility or how important it is. Most of them just have this idea of just let us just build stuff like that.
Decline call button. Double tap. End-to-end encrypted. Call with favor cherish. Chrome. StreamYard. Studio. Mute microphone. Button.
Can you
Phone
hear
call
me?
volume set to 100%. Double tap to activate.
Hello?
Yeah, you can go on. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Oh yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can go on.
you can go on. So yeah, so it was so yeah, I wrote the story concerning that, and I got to realize that most of the persons that are in that space, most of the tech companies and people who are privy to tech policies and stuff like that, don't take digital accessibility seriously. They don't see it as a big thing. And I got to interview a lot of company owners, founders, and stuff like that, and most of them will tell you, "Oh, I don't know how big this is." One even told me that his one of his developers told him about digital accessibility, but he did not know how deep it can be. I thought he did not understand it, and with that, it has opened my eyes to so many things that that apart from the physical accessibility that is still a problem, there is also a big issue of digital accessibility because there are times where you're trying to use a phone or you're trying to use an app on your phone, in a Nigerian made app or an African made app, and there are a lot of roadblocks, things that basically should not be an issue, but they are. You can't tap, you can't swipe. Sometimes some things are not well labeled, no alternate text, and some of these things, and they tend to affect your usage of the app or your user experience. So it's a big issue, and yeah, it's something I'm actually looking into. And thanks to the company I'm working with, they've given me that chance to be able to explore things like this because we're all about tech revolution in Africa. So they give me that chance to be able to write on some of these things, talk to the policy makers, the founders, and see where we can work around digital accessibility, how we can make it better for persons in Nigeria and Africa in general, basically. So yeah, it's still we are still far behind in Nigeria when it comes to digital accessibility, and it's still a learning process for most of us, basically.
Okay, so does this directly affect
They
the
affect
work you do
the work
in
you do in
writing and journalism?
writing and
Or do
journalism.
you have any
Do you have any
shortcomings
shortcomings
of this
of this
inaccessibility in
inaccessibility?
tech?
Well, I would say it has not been, to an extent, it has not been an issue for me. I write. What I do is this, right? I gather my stories. I gather my sources for my stories. I write with my phone or my laptop, mostly my laptop. Then I put these things together and share with my colleagues for them to put. There are times where there are things I want to do, but I can't do them because of the same issue I'm talking about, your digital accessibility. There are times where you want to look at the color of an image or look at the placement of an image and stuff like that. So I don't you place it properly and stuff like that, but you tend not to, because of the barrier in terms of digital accessibility, you tend not to know how to place this properly or place it well, or just basic things that shouldn't be a problem, but they are problems. So yeah, I still face the barrier. I can't publish something on my own currently. Yeah, on the
That's
website of the platform I am, I can't independently publish something. And for me, it's a digital accessibility issue that should be fixed.
okay. So I think that's something you can also
Can
discuss with your
also
people.
discuss with your team.
And in
Sorry?
your own,
And in your own,
you're saying something?
you're saying something? No, I was asking you a question. What did you say?
I said,
I
perhaps
said
that's something you
perhaps
would
that's something you
also
would
discuss with your team to
also
see
discuss
how
with your team to see how
inclusive the
inclusive
site can be for you.
site can be for you. Yeah, yeah, it's something that we've talked about, and I don't think digital accessibility is a big issue. It's not just them. At least we've found a way to work around things like this, and it's working perfectly well for us. The way because I have a team where they truly understand what they are meant to do for me and what I am meant to do for them. So we work synchronously, we work well, and I have like my team in general. They totally know what to do, and I totally know what to do. So yeah, it's working perfectly well.
That's nice to know you have a very supportive team.
Positive thing.
So, in your own
So, in your
opinion,
own opinion,
inclusive do you think
inclusive do
the
you think
African
the
tech
tech
ecosystem is for
ecosystem is for
accessibility?
accessibility? It's not inclusive. Yeah, it's not inclusive because where okay, in the aspect of employment, now I've talked about digital accessibility already. In the aspect of employment, how many tech startups in Africa have persons with disability as part of their team? I mean, I've done my check and I've spoken with close to 25 companies and they have none. None. 25 companies. I'm talking about fintechs. I'm talking about banks. I'm talking about ride apps, ride hailing apps. I'm talking about people doing other things. How many of them have persons with disability as part of their team? Not just persons with disability. I'm talking about blind persons now. How many of them have such persons on their team? I have a friend who is currently working with a tech company as a software engineer. He's the only one on his team. He's the only blind person, the only person with disability there. And there are so many other companies. And I mean, it's not. Then I've talked about digital accessibility already. How many of them think of visual impaired person when they are building? How many of them think of persons with hearing impairment when they are building? How many of them think of persons with Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, and the rest of them? How many of them think of these people when they are building? They basically just build for the general public without considering others. So yeah, I'd say it's not inclusive for me as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you very much. You've really been doing amazing
Doing
job at
amazing job at
people
people
with
with
disabilities in Africa,
disabilities in Africa,
and even going
and
as far
even
as
going as far as
speaking with
speaking
tech
with
people that
tech people that
a lot.
a
And this will
lot.
bring us
And
to
this will bring us
Mantra
to
that
a
said,
matter that said,
nothing for us
nothing
without
for us
us.
without.
So if this
So if
tech
this tech
if
benefits to
everyone, that's
everyone,
basically
that's
also places
basically also
disabilities
this
also
stability
have to be
also
on the
has to be on the
decision and the building
decision and the
phase
building phase
and not an
and not
aftermath.
an aftermath.
So
So
what
what would you
advice
what advice
for other
for
persons with
other persons with
disabilities, especially
disabilities,
persons with
especially
visual
persons with
impairment,
visual
who are
impairment, who
aspiring
are aspiring
to dive
to
into the
dive
junior
into the
engineering
junior
world?
business world?
I would say the space is wide. The sky is wide enough for everybody to fly. Come in. There is a lot to talk about. There is a lot to do. Your sighted colleagues are not the only ones who can do this. Yeah, the road is rocky. It is rough, but know what you want to do. Believe in your abilities. Believe in yourself. There are times where it will feel like you're not doing anything. I mean, I've been in that space many times where it feels like everybody else is moving faster than I am, but I need to remind myself that you are trying. Look at what you're achieving so far and look at where you're headed. Don't just relax. Don't just say, oh, this person is going to do this for me. This person is going to do that for me. Do something for yourself. Chase stories, read things, read books. When you read some of these things, you can tend to find your niche and don't jump into the bandwagon of say, oh, I'm going to be a broadcaster and just go sit in the studio. If you're in the studio alone, you're not going to cover a lot of things. I believe there's a lot to talk about social justice. There's a lot to talk about advocacy. There are policies to push out. So I believe don't just believe in your abilities basically. Believe in yourself. Believe in your you have a disability, but that doesn't define you. It's just a little barrier that you can always walk around. The space is not that pleasant for you, but I believe with your ability and with you trusting yourself that you can achieve something, you will get there.
Well, thank you very much. And
Much,
this
and
brings us
this
to the
brings
end
us
of
to the
this
end of
episode.
this episode.
It's nice
It's
having you
nice
here
having you
and
here
for
and
having you
for
here
having
another
you
time
here
to
another
discuss
time to discuss something
else.
else.
Thank you very much for your
Thank you
time.
very much for your time.
Thank you, and thanks for having me.
Yeah.